Hey guys, Epengu here with another EVO Day 2 interview. I'm here with Liquid Chillin and Chu, who unfortunately are both out of the tournament. But how you guys feeling? Chillin, we talked earlier. Chu, how you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. Unfortunately, I lost to SFAT and Moon, so I'm going to feel really, really bad about that. So, yeah, I feel kind of bad. But other than that, yeah, I'm going to keep my head up, of course. You know, it's no worries. I'll come back next tournament. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've been doing pretty well recently. You've been rising up the rankings pretty dramatically. You just came in at, what, 7th SSBM rank? That's pretty good. How has it been for both of you guys to now be on Liquid together? Because, I mean, obviously you guys have been friends for forever and making stuff together forever. But what is it like now being on the same team for real?
It feels really good. Like, Chillin is a really, really good friend of mine. Like, we go way back. We go back since, like, 2002. That's when I first met him. And, yeah, now we're finally on the same team. Like, when Liquid actually picked up Ken, we decided to work together to see if we can get our own sponsor. So Chillin got Curse, which obviously became Liquid, and then I got Mortality. But now we're finally on the same team, finally. So I'm really, really happy about that.
Yeah, it's just cool after, like Chu said, once Ken and KDJ got sponsored by Liquid initially a few years ago, that's kind of what spurred us to be like, oh, you know what? We're also old school players that were heavily featured in the doc and are, still kicking ass today. We should try to find a sponsor as well. And so we ended up getting different sponsors back then, and then to eventually come full circle and end up on Team Liquid together is super sick. So I think it's definitely going to open up a lot of possibilities for us individually and as a team.
I mean, that's exciting. And you just mentioned old school players. You two are two of the, I would say, most popular Smash personalities in the scene right now. And I think a lot of that's owed to the fact that you are such old school players and you can go back and talk about the formation of the scene, your history, that sort of stuff. How do you feel that having such a long view on the scene and its time has impacted you as a player and as a personality for the fans?
Well, I think the fans really like my style personally, just because like I'm an old school player, but like all these like new players kind of like Nintendo and Disc, they're kind of like new-ish school, so they don't really like them as much. They kind of Twitch chat's really, really mean to them. So, but they're really, really cool with me because like I was featured in the documentary and like I do my pose and all that good stuff, and I'm an old school player, so I'm cool with the fans. So it's really, really cool being an OG.
Yeah, I think it's funny how me and Chu, are kind of establishing like these funny quirks about like what makes us popular, like being rappers and stuff like that. Like, it's just hilarious to me because obviously we do all this stuff for fun, but like it actually is really a big hit with the fans and stuff like that. So that's really dope. And I mean, it's obviously really cool that as the scene's kind of exploded in the past few years, so has like our fan bases. That just means that we're still around, we're still doing things out here, and like I said, we're appealing to the fans in other ways outside of just our gameplay as well. So it's pretty sweet.
How much of that would you say? Because I mean, like you just said, it's so much of it is just you guys messing around, right? Like Chu, you've had Yeas since as long as anyone can remember, and Chillin, like the rap thing it's part of what gets you fans, but also you just do it for fun. So how do you balance, like, I guess just like how much of it really is for fun and how much of it is like, oh, okay, this is what they're gonna like. This is what they're really gonna be into.
Okay, so when Chillin first released his first diss track, it was a hit. It has like 800,000 views on YouTube right now, and I knew at that point that we could possibly make more. So I told Chillin dude, hey, we gotta make a diss track on SFAT. I think that was our second diss track. So I beat SFAT, and then he made a diss track, and then after every person I beat in the Melee community, we did a diss track on him, and it was really, really, really funny. The fans love it. So yeah, at that point we knew we had to keep it going, with the diss tracks and stuff, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, pretty much exactly what Chu said, which is we, start off doing a lot of different stuff for fun, and obviously if it catches on with the fans, if they like it and it's fun for us anyway, then why not keep it going? So basically, we mess around, we have fun, and if we notice something is appealing to the fans, then why not keep it going since it's fun for us anyway?
Can we get a hint, or do you have any ideas percolating on who the next diss track might be?
I have a couple of slight ideas, but they're still very early on in the development. I obviously don't want to spoil anything, so I got to keep it on the low, but I don't think anything's right around the corner. I think I need more time for my creative process to really develop before before I drop another track.
Yeah, I'd imagine a higher placing would also help a little bit. Switching gears a little bit, one of the other aspects of you guys both being sponsored by Liquid is that you guys are actually a really strong doubles team, and I think one of the doubles team where you perform above maybe your perceived skill level in singles because of your partnership. Can you guys there's been a lot of talk about Fuse recently, about the good things it's done for the scene, but also how it's been a little disorganized. And you guys, unfortunately, just came in at 9th place, I think, barely didn't qualify right. Do you guys want to talk a little bit about that and how Melee has been reacting with more static doubles teams recently?
Yeah. So the whole Fuse circuit, it was kind of weird. They kind of like announced it after Genesis, and then they said that only a couple tournaments, like there was only like 3 or 4 tournaments announced that were going to be a part of the Fuse bracket, and me and Chillin and Chu decided to go to those tournaments, and we did our best, and we ended up placing 9th. I think we got like it was like right below like everyone else, so we barely didn't make it. But I heard from the other interviews that people were complaining about Fuse and how it's run and stuff. And I kind of agree with like what everyone's saying. It's kind of like they didn't even update the points. Like it's hard to find information about it. So they really like I heard that like the location's not even like set in stone or something like that. So they got to like work things out next time, because like these guys are like professional tournament organizers that have been in the scenes for the past like 10 years or something like that, maybe even more, I think. And yeah, so for them to like have this much confusion with like with the scene and the fans, it's not a good look, and they need to work better, I feel, and with the next Fuse tournament that they decide to do.
Yeah, I think the concept of Fuse is great, and it obviously did help a little bit with getting static teammates. Since you can only get team or points as a team, you're kind of forced to stick with one partner in order to qualify for the circuit. So I think that aspect is really cool. Just the idea of a team circuit is cool, and I think in general it did help doubles. But yeah, the execution could have been a lot better. And as Chu said, these are professional TOs who have done this before. So I think a lot of the stuff was just kind of unexpected from people that have experience running tournaments and stuff. As Chu said, when it was first announced, it was announced after Genesis, and then they counted the placings from Genesis, which already isn't a good way to start it. And then they only had a few tournaments announced that were going to be on the circuit, and then they kind of just added a ton of tournaments without necessarily much notice before those tournaments that they were going to be part of Fuse. And so that made it really difficult to try to figure out what to go to in order to qualify for the circuit. And so I think me and Chu, to an extent, fell victim to that. We also just had a couple of kind of disappointing performances, but obviously that was pre us being on the same team as Liquid. So I think me and Chu are definitely going to focus a lot more on practicing doubles. And I think with Fuse, they have a lot of potential there. Like I said, it's a great concept. And hopefully if they do it again, they have a much more transparent setup. They update the leaderboards constantly, and they let everyone know what the circuit's going to be ahead of time, obviously not counting events after they've already happened or adding events too close to when they're going to happen, stuff like that. And if they do that, I think there's a ton of potential for it to be something really, really big. I do think in general, like I said, it still helped doubles, but not as much as it could have. So I hope that if there's another circuit along those lines, they fix a lot of the mistakes that Fuse made, because there's just so much potential there to actually blow it up and have a really, really strong double scene.
Just on the subject of doubles, while we're talking about it, you guys are one of the 2 premier ICs teams that uses ICs whatsoever. They happen to both be ICs Fox, but along with Colbull and DizKid, you're one of the only teams that has been able to use ICs effectively in teams. And talking to DizKid, he thinks ICs are actually pretty good in teams. He's a big believer in the character in general, even though he's not a big believer of them in singles. Having had so much experience with that, and also just in singles, both of you know the character really well, honestly. What do you think about ICs in teams? Is it hard? Is it more volatile? What's up with that?
Ice Commerce in teams seems to be really, I think they're really good. I think like the random down smashes and the random forward smashes that Ice Commerce has, it's like unexpected like damage. Like there's 2 characters, so it does like it multiplies the damage by 2. So and the moves come out really, really fast, and so like people are they're unable to anticipate like the move coming out, so they just die randomly. So that's the beauty of having an ice climbers on your team. Also, you also have the wobbles aspect. So if you're a teammate, like in my case, like Chillin is really good at getting people off of me when I'm wobbling somebody. So in that case, like wobbling's like our team is really good because we're able to wobble somebody. He's able to keep off the other guy while I'm wobbling the other guy. So yeah, I think ice climbers are pretty good.
Yeah, I do think ice climbers are pretty underrated in teams. They obviously have their shortcomings because Nana dies really easily. And so a lot of the times you'll be focusing on Sopo. So I think another big aspect of having ICs be good in teams is having a good Sopo, because you just kind of have to accept that a lot of the time you're going to lose Nana and there's not much you can do about it. So if the Sopo, you can still make it work, then you can actually be pretty effective regardless, which is what Chu is so good at doing. And I do think they're underrated, but like I said, I still think they're not necessarily like a top tier teams character. But as I said, if you can work around their weaknesses, then you can make them really effective in teams. And as Chu said, when he gets a wobble, it's actually, I love when that happens because it turns into like a little mini game where I just have to figure out how to like swat the other dude away and just keep him away the whole time. It's great. And so that aspect is really fun. But yeah, I think there's a ton of potential with ice climbers in teams, and they're still relatively undeveloped since Diz recently became like a pretty good teams ICs, but before that it was literally just Chu for the longest time. And still to this day, Chu's easily the best teams ICs. So I think there's still a lot of potential for the character to develop, but they're still not that good in teams, basically. And you have to be a really good player in general to kind of make up for their weaknesses.
Just on ICs in general, I also want to pick your brain a bit about this because, we've seen a lot of ICs come and go as sort of the top level. Last year was sort of the year of Nintendo. He was doing great, getting these 9th place, even top 8 finishes everywhere. And then you've come in, but even just last week, you got outplaced by DizKid, and that just owes to you actually got upset by Chillin. Again, I'll do air quotes upset since you guys play all the time. But they're a character that it seems like more than any other character, the results can just go all over the place. Do you think that's just because of how ICs work in the current metagame, that ice climbers players' results are so volatile?
Oh yeah, definitely, for sure. So ice climbers, like, we have a lot of weaknesses, and people know how to exploit those weaknesses. And if we run into somebody that knows how to exploit those weaknesses and are really good against ice climbers, like, it's more common for us to fall down in bracket and against these these other players. Like, for example, Kobol's obviously really good. Chillin's really good. I lost to them at Genesis Red. I lost to Moon today. He's really good against ice climbers. I lost to SFAT. He's really good against ice climbers. Like, people are starting to understand the matchup. So, like, I think that, like, the more time that moves forward, I think that ice climber players are going to have like a little bit more difficulty in keeping up with the other players, and so that's just how I feel about the situation.
Yeah, I mean, just exactly what he said about ice climbers. Like, if people know the matchup, then you're kind of screwed because ice climbers do have those weaknesses. So basically what it boils down to is there's a ton of people that don't know the matchup in the community, and I think that's why you see the volatile results, is because it's kind of a crapshoot in bracket. Does the guy know how to fight ice climbers or not? So that's what it comes down to.
All right, last questions. I'm going to have one question for each of you. All right, Chillin, you recently have been talking a lot about a specific item you've been enjoying very much. It seems like you are very much on the fidget spinner train. I heard you mentioning earlier that you have a collection of fidget spinners building up. What's your favorite fidget spinner that you own?
All right, so I have a few. I have the light up one that you guys might have seen in the One Up Team Liquid video, but my favorite is actually the blue and white one that Chu's been hogging all weekend. So it's like low key Team Liquid colors. Might have some Team Liquid sponsored fidget spinners in the near future, but yeah, it just looks really sick as it spins, as you can see.
All right, and then Chu. I'm a big fan of onions myself. I've been cooking a lot recently and putting them in a lot, and there's a lot of different types of onions is what I'm learning as I start to cook more. What's your favorite type of onion?
I got to go with the original white and yellow. That was my first onion I've ever eaten raw, and I won't forget it. And it's just like, I think it's better than the red onion and all the other onions, in my opinion.
Awesome. All right. Thanks so much for taking the time to talk to me, you guys. Any last shout-outs, mentions you guys want to do before we end out?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so I'd like to make a shout-out to Team Liquid for picking me up. Obviously, all my sponsors, Razer, Ballistics, Twitch, HyperX, HTC, AOC. I love all you guys. I'm new. I'm sorry. I'll learn all you guys very, very quickly. But thank you guys so much for supporting Team Liquid. Love all you guys and my fans, of course.
Yeah, I mean, same. Shout out to Team Liquid. As I said earlier, they help us get to all these events, make all this possible. Sponsors as well. And to the fans, we love the fans. And thank you guys for supporting us. And definitely look forward to better performances in the future, for sure.
Cool. Thanks, you guys. Here from EVO Day 2 2017, I'm Epengu with Liquid, Chillin and Chu. Follow them on Twitter. Follow the rest of EVO. We actually got a top 8's about to happen, so we're probably going to run in back there. And check this YouTube for more channel both today and tomorrow. Thanks, guys. I just want this, and I want